What's up, YouTube? What's up, podcast? Welcome back to MJ's Thoughts. I'm your host, MJ. Thank you for tuning into my thoughts. I'm joined once again by my mother for another series of lines from a book. Today's book is The Promise of Stardust by Priscilla Sibley. An okay book, I suppose, if we recall. But not important. What is important is our list of quotes, except today it's not really a list because when I read this, only one line stood out to me, and so I really only highlighted one passage, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. So should be a pretty short video here, but that's okay. I suppose without further ado, you should start it off, right, Mom?
Yes. So this is a quote by the main character of the book. His name is Matt, and he's referring to his wife when he says this. She loved to shoot with a long lens, catching me unaware. She said that's when you could find a person's spirit, their truth.
Yes, that's Matt Ballou, I think you pronounce it. Looks French. He's also the narrator of the story. It's first person narration throughout from his point of view. And it's also important to note that that first line is referencing a camera, just for context. I think that's important here. But it's really the second part that spoke to me when he said that his wife said that's when you could find a person's spirit, their truth, when a person is caught unaware. And to me, that's speaking to the natural order of things. And when I say that, I sort of mean it in an opposite manner, because when I think about this quote, I think about the precise opposite of it, and it's how society likes to live in this new age of like Instagram and social media and things. We tend to present our lives on these social media platforms as if they're perfect, and so all the pictures on Instagram, they're poses. They're planned. The people in the pictures know what they're doing for the most part. Like a lot of the professional stuff is entirely coordinated, instead of like somebody walking into this room right now and taking a random picture of us just talking.
No, it's complete choreography.
Yeah. So this is talking about she found beauty in the opposite of that, in everyday ordinary life, in capturing your significant other just enjoying a cup of coffee, standing there looking out the window. That to her was all she needed. What did you see, Mom?
Well, yes, along those same lines, but you added to my thoughts. When I read this, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking we are only really truly ourselves, 100% ourselves, when nobody's around. Even if you think somebody might walk into the room, that's going to be a part of your decision making, like, oh, I'm not going to do that just in case somebody walks into the room, right? We're only 99.5% ourselves if we think somebody might walk into the room. We're only 100% ourselves when we're 100% sure nobody is around or is going to be around. And so, I think the farther away that other people are from us, it's like a continuum. The more truthful we are with ourselves, or the more we act the way that we truly are or really want to. And so I think, I know you were really focusing on the second part, but if you look at the first part, she loved to shoot with a long lens. I think that word long is significant. The farther away she is from her subject, the more genuine her subject is.
Do you think, I'm not a camera junkie, but do you think that word long is a technical term for an actual lens in a camera? Or do you think he was describing it in that way? He was using that word to describe how she approached it. Not necessarily that it's a physical lens, but that's how she approached that thought.
I think it works both ways, because it is a physical lens. I don't know if you've ever seen the, high-tech real cameras.
I'm not.
And they have those long lenses that you attach to the front. They stick way out.
And that entire thing is the lens?
Yeah. well, the entire thing is the lens.
The lens
part.
is at the end of
I don't
the
know
long
how
thing?
it works
Okay.
beyond
Yeah,
that.
I don't know either.
It does allow the photographer to capture an image far, far away. Like if I see a bear way over there, I want to put on my long lens, and then I'm going to be able to, like the National Geographic photographers that look like they're really close to the animals. They're usually not. They're using a long lens, so it works both ways. It literally is a long lens.
I got you.
But, you know.
And the farther away that lens is from the subject, the more that subject is going to act like how they normally would.
Yeah.
And if you reverse that situation, if you don't look at it from the point of view of the camera and instead you look at it from the point of view of the subject, the more alone the subject is, the more isolated the subject is, the more that subject becomes, or we'll say person, the more the person becomes truly whoever they are on the inside, who they believe they are, etc.
Yeah, I think that's true. And then going back to what you were saying then about, right now we're living more and more every day, living in a world where everybody's living under a lens, right? Because they are under a lens so much, and starting to almost have this alternate persona that we start to believe in and start to have to carry through and live up to.
That's a real thing. I listened to a few different podcasts, and there's this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, big time entrepreneur guy, but he's always preaching about how the important thing in life is being happy. And so through that, his expertise is digital marketing, specifically through social media channels. So he sees all the Instagram people who get paid to post a picture. He knows the ins and outs of that whole thing, and he's met a ton of people who are these Instagram influencers, as they're called, and they're miserable because, number one, they associate their self-worth with the number of likes they get on a picture. Number two, when they post a picture that's not, say it's a gym junkie guy, is like this shredded guy, gets paid to post pictures of him working out, things like that. When he doesn't get as many likes on the pictures he posts that aren't of him working out, he feels inferior. He feels like he's only that picture of him working out. He's only his muscles. And that's not everybody, but Gary Vaynerchuk has experienced this in his working world.
So people are starting to find their worth in these alter egos that they're building, or these people that are partly them, but to the rest of the world, it's completely them. And now, once you get yourself so far into that, you've got to start living up to it every single day.
Yeah, it's more that they're realizing that that's not just who they are. They're realizing that they're human beings and they're comprised of so much more than these pictures on Instagram. And I think in the time we live in now, this very second, perhaps we're coming out of that. I don't know for sure. I'm not familiar. I'm not in tune enough with digital media and all this stuff to even
as neither am I,
to even put like a finger on the heartbeat. But I see sometimes that people let's take like a makeup artist, for example. Like there are girls on Instagram who do like makeup tutorials and things like that. And so they get themselves looking all gorgeous and whatnot. But they'll also post a picture next to it of like what they look like without makeup and how it's important to be okay with that versus being dolled up all the time. Because it's more realistic. I mean,
so we've sort of hopefully hit the crescendo.
I don't know.
People are looking for a possible balance.
I'm hoping I think that would be a good thing for society to go to that understanding. I don't know where we are with that. I'm hoping that we're on the other side of, we'll call it Fakestagram, I guess, just for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. It's a lot of pressure. It's
I also
lot of
wonder,
pressure to keep up with something that you've created that is maybe not genuine to you.
Yeah, and it might have started genuine, but it grew and it grew and it grew into something that they couldn't control anymore. And I also wonder, and so there's societal pressure. There's pressure from being this individual for all of your millions of followers. And there's also monetary pressure because these people are getting paid to be these people, to be this ego on Instagram. And so maybe they didn't graduate from college. Maybe they don't have any other skills to fall back on. And so they're kind of stuck. So they're worried, if I stop doing this now, what's going to happen to me? What am I going to do? Type thing. I had another thought. Oh, yeah. I also wonder if there are varying levels to it. So a person who has no phone, no computer, off the grid person, which they exist. I've read about them.
Oh.
Like the McCandless kid from Into the Wild, John Krakauer.
No, yes.
Completely off the grid. There's no cameras, so there's no pressure. There's nothing of the sort when he went out into the Alaskan bush to try and survive. Nothing of the sort. It's just him. He could be whoever he wanted to be, all by himself in the middle of nowhere. And then there's the complete opposite of that, which is the Instagram model who's posed pictures every other day for money. That's like the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And then there's this thing in the middle, and I don't know how familiar you are with Barstool Sports. Not much. You probably wouldn't be that interested.
I've heard of it.
But one of the factors that played into Barstool Sports becoming so successful is that a lot of the content they post and produce is completely off the cuff. It's organic, and I put that in quotes because I don't know how it falls into that spectrum, because while it could be organic in the things people are saying in these videos could be completely off the cuff and unscripted, but at the same time, those people do know that there's a camera there most of the time. And number two, so that plays into how they act on screen. And number two, those videos still go to editing after they've been shot. So those same people could have said some crazy stuff and it still wouldn't make it in because it still goes through an editing process. So I don't know where that falls into the spectrum of
but I would
realness.
Wager to guess that we definitely, when the camera is on, whatever camera you want to call it, video camera, still camera, whatever, when the camera is on, we act differently when we know there's a safety net of editing.
Right.
Or,
if we have control over the finished product.
Yes.
That type of thinking. Like right now,
for example.
Most of this won't be edited, I don't think, actually. Just that beginning part before I did the intro. Cool. That was the only quote. Do you have any other thoughts, Mom?
I don't have any other thoughts.
Right on. Well, Thanks for joining me once again.
You're welcome.
Sorry it's just the one quote, but also not sorry at all because only 7 people are watching, so it doesn't matter. And that was the last book that I've read through that we've both read. So I'm gonna have to start reading Just Mercy, and for Fahrenheit 451. I'll probably, if I find some things in there that I like, we can do that one.
Yeah.
And there's some other ones, but we'll be back. I don't know how long it'll be. Something of a hiatus for however long it takes me to read those books, but we'll be back if it's cool with you, Mom.
Yep.
Cool with you?
Yep.
Right on. Subscribe, comment. I don't think I've had any comments yet. It'd be fun to read. Like, share with your friends, share with people who aren't your friends, share with your family.
Share with readers, share with non-readers.
Go to the blog. It's MJ's Thoughts on Medium. That's the platform. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'll put those in the description. And subscribe to the pod. Well, I'm looking at a video camera, but subscribe to the podcast also. Awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in. Good to go?
Yep.
Good to go. Till next time.